Hello everyone, my name is Lorthorn and welcome to How to Miskatonic Mysteries. This is a Cthulhu Lovecraftian mythos based mod, and hopefully this guide will show you how to do all that stuff. So you know it's going to have like tentacles, eldritch horrors, and evil magic, cultists, that sort of thing. Fun! Now one of the first things you want to do with this mod is try to find yourself a village. In villages, you will find a very different kind of villager than normal. That is the hippie villager, or this guy here, known as the Psychonaut. He is your go-to guide that will basically get you started with this mod, and he'll have many different interesting houses, and they'll usually be the most creative one in the village that you'll come across. From there, once you've done stuff with him, you can get on with some other fun stuff. That being all this madness you see here. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's go back to the beginning with how this mod actually works. As I said, the first thing you want to do is find yourself this hippie or psychonaut. Have some emeralds ready to trade with him, and purchase from him the scientific journal. Now this will be your guide for how to get the mod started and get into the more crazy stuff. But before anyone can go truly insane, we have to first get a little mundane. In this book, you will find how to make chemistry sets, substances, and you'll also come across ads for weapons and a Rorschach test to make sure you're still sane. Also, just so you know, this guy isn't just the supply of your book though. If you get him to like you enough, he'll supply you with a whole bunch of other fun stuff, such as power cells and substances, which makes him great. Now, if you can't find one of these villagers, you can always craft the chemistry set, and this will turn a knucklehead into a chemist. The recipe for the chemistry set is very straightforward, and if you don't want to be borrowing the hippies one, which who knows what weird things have been done to it, you can craft your own using iron and glass, and you get this cool looking thing here. Now, one of the first things you want to make is bolter, this stuff here, and this is what you could call the gateway to the rest of the mod. Bolter is made with ingredients that can be acquired mostly from the nether: warped fungus, nether wart, crimson fungus, a little bit of sugar, and this new substance called infested wheat. Infested wheat can be bought from the hippie in the hippie hut, or you can cheat in. Not sure why you do that, but that's the ways to get it as far as I know. You put them into this sort of glass contraption of bites, light it up with your flint and tinder, and get a sheet of paper ready. Once it makes the potion sound, you collect the new substance with the piece of paper, and it'll give you 3 new bolter. Bolter is a mind-altering substance which will open you to mania. It also unlocks the achievement Dode, and it makes everything glow red around you. It's rather gross. Normal things like milk and such not do not help you get rid of these effects as well, so you're going to be stuck with them. Right, on to the next substance. When you want to get a little more fancy with your substance intakes, you can make laudanum, or laudanum. This stuff is made using sugar, poppies, and netherwort. Put those all together, light it up, get yourself a bottle, collect the new fungus substance, and you get laudanum. This will clear mania, but it will also leave you weakened and tranquilized, as well as over-medicated, which is an effect that lasts for 20 minutes and is not clearable, except via death. As a doctor, I must recommend against this, for it is a rather permanent treatment for most mortal beings, especially if they don't have respawn. I should probably also mention that I am not a doctor. I'm more like an evil pharmacist. Anyways, we are going to continue on to making medicine, so to say, or, well, things that shouldn't be taken in large quantities. This is especially true for the next substance, which is called Cherical Fuel. Do not drink it. You may be tempted to, but do not. It is made with the beautiful and glorious potato, glowstone dust, a touch of redstone, and apparently sugar. That's weird, because here in the book it says sugar is required, but then over here when we actually look at the chemical recipe for it, the sugar doesn't show up. So that's a little bit of a bug. Odd. That's something to be aware of. The book knows better. Anyways, cook that up, and that will give you some chemical fuel. Now, chemical fuel, acquired via bottling, and it is completely useless unless you happen to have the power cell and the resonator. Now, both the power cell and the resonator do not actually happen to have recipes. The only way to get them is by trading with the Psychonaut or Hippie. Of the items he is willing to trade, you can find them all here, like rifles, revolvers, fested wheat, and tranquilizer, which is a safer version of laudanum. Now, all these items have their own amounts of usefulness. The infested wheat and the science journal are probably the two most important items you can get off him, but the others hold their own shares of fun. The power cells, along with the resonator, have some very interesting effects. When you apply chemical fuel to the power cells and flick on the resonator, it makes everything go all purpley, and your vision starts to get a little bit purple. Now this applies a mind-altering effect to you, which allows you to see creatures that aren't there. See these little suckers that can float through the ground? These are phantasms. They're really creepy looking. They can drift about. They're everywhere. They're on your face. You never know when they might be about. They're completely harmless. You don't really need to do anything about them. You just know they're there, and they're probably crawling on you. And like one's in your ear. They're just horrible. All over the place. You never get rid of them, you just feel them crawling about, floating. You know they're there. Those arms reaching and grabbing, them folding, unfolding into impossible shapes. And it's probably best to turn off the resonator and just pretend like they're not there. And if you happen to accidentally punch one while randomly flailing about in the air, then you happen to punch one while randomly flailing about in the air. Right, the next is how you can make bullets. Excellent tool. These things here. Gunpowder, gold, iron. You make yourself these bullet things, and you can load them into your gun. By holding shift, then right click, that'll load up your gun with bullets, and then you can fire them. The rifle takes one bullet at a time, but has longer range, and will deal slightly more damage. Take that. And that. I'll get you yet. Just don't want to see you. Turning on my resonator. Now, once you've done all that, it is time for you to leave the village where you discovered your hippie, and you're off to find a very different kind of village now. Proceed along ocean lines and anywhere else you may find villages, and eventually you'll come across a village with cultists in it. Now, most of them probably will not look like this village, as this is a village I crafted myself. But once you find one of these villages, it will have a sort of thing like this in the center, and a whole bunch of these yellow guys about. Now, these yellow guys aren't all that important to you. What you are looking for is this one particular yellow guy right here. Go to him, and he'll have for sale a Necronomicon. Purchase it from him, and so continue on the path to damnation. In the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, you will find a whole bunch of different stuff, talking about octograms and the world, and it's all very interesting, and there's rites and various other things, and there's a lot of power to be found. A lot of interesting, cool stuff. But you can ignore all that when watching this guide. Or you can cease watching this guide right now and try to muddle through this book yourself. But let me tell you that while trying to figure out this mod, I actually went slightly insane. So it was probably best just to continue watching this. Now, this book here is very, 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 very important to you. Especially the copy you plan to be using the most. It allows you to cast spells and do rites, and all of that had their fun stuff. Remember that witch in the beginning? Well, witches are important to actually find in this mod if you want to do a little bit of crazy magic. See, there's ways to achieve knowledge in this mod, which aren't quite like many other mods. Find yourself a witch, and come to her with a peace offering of a healing potion. Give her the healing potion, that'll make her like you. Give her Necronomicon, she'll wiggle her nose above it, and we'll give it a new knowledge. It will have now a witch's secret contained within it. The knowledge of the witch doesn't actually do much besides let you heal yourself. But that's probably the more importance of the magics. But yes, this very important book to get from the witch. But there's other important NPCs you need as well. For you will probably want to collect yourself one of these guys, a wandering trader. Now they turn themselves invisible at night, but eventually you'll come across one of these suckers who will trade you these disgusting fish, which you'll want to buy off him, these oceanic gold blocks, which you'll also want to buy off him, controlled substances, sometimes Necronomicons, and this orb. So, get yourself the gold, the creepy fish, and the orb, and more of the gold because it's the thing you'll probably need a lot of. And so now that you have your oceanic gold, orb, and coarse wrist fish, you can eat all these objects. They'll have their own negative effects on your person. The fish is absolutely disgusting, and so is the orb, which gives you insanity and weakness and a whole bunch of other stuff. Both these unlock new spells, summoning tentacles, and, well, being able to do stuff with magic that we'll get to. After that, you'll want to take the oceanic gold and break it into pieces. You will get these lovely little oceanic gold nugget things. Then, you'll want to go find some honeycomb. With that honeycomb, you'll want to put it into a furnace, and that will give you wax. As you can see, melts it down right quickly. You get a daub of wax in hand. Take these 2 daubles of wax, put a string on top, and that'll give you a candle. With these candles and oceanic gold in hand, smelt yourself up some stone, and then you will want to craft yourself the stone altar. This thing you can put down, and it lets you do stuff. Next, we're going to make the Iridescent Pearl. Now, to make the Iridescent Pearl, you'll need to add infested wheat, 2 glowstone, some prismatic crystals, and phantom membrane. Like usual, light the sucker up. Then, once it is completed with that little glug, add an ender pearl, and that will give you 3 iridescent pearls, and you can use these to trade or do various different ritual spells. Then, you want to make yourself some of this Profane Chalk. Now, there's 2 other kinds of chalk, but the Profane Chalk is the one that you want to make. For it is what is Hastur's chalk, and Hastur is the most updated and most worked on of the 3 great old ones of this mod so far. So, put sandstone, some yellow dye for the Yellow King's color, glowstone dust, and nether quartz all into the chemistry set. Light that up, let it burn. Once that's complete, get bone meal, put that in, and that will let you make Profane Chalk. Each one of these things will draw its own symbol onto the ground. The green one, making a sort of Cthulhu head. The black one, making a goat demon head with 3 eyes. And the yellow one depicts the mark of Hastur. Now that you got Hastur's symbol down, and you've gotten yourself a stone altar in the middle of the village, and you've traded with the witch for secrets, you can start doing a bit of the fun magic that's involved with this mod. So I'm going to explain spells because they're rather confusing. Spells are done via this thing, and to craft them, well, it's downright confusing. So what you have to do to make a spell is first choose which effect you want. You can go with Mania, Fire, Tentacles, because those are the things we've unlocked so far. There's other effects, we'll go with Fire. Then you choose which target's going to hit, either a far-range lob or close to home. We're going to go with a far-range lob. Then you choose the power level at which you want the spell to be. We're going to choose maximum power. Then you have this little sidebar over here. You select the spell, and that'll create it, so we have a long-range fireball of max power. Then you take that off the Necronomicon. You set key bindings to choose which one will be cast the spell and which one will cycle through it. Our select spell is M. You click on that. Then our cast is N. And it will launch a projectile fireball for us. Now it's completely free to cast magic. There's a slight cooldown. Sorry, let me correct myself. It is almost completely free to cast magic. However, it drives you slowly insane. So the more magic you do, the more insane you become. And how you keep track of your sanity is with the science journal under psychology, the Rorschach test. And once you start going insane, this will start to change. As you can see, it's already starting to get a little bit of daubs here, which weren't there before. And if we continue to mess about with powers we shouldn't, then things will get worse and worse for us, and it'll actually stop us from being able to continue to cast spells. Next, you want to get yourself really embedded in the community. So talk to this guy, and trade with him a whole bunch. Have a lot of emeralds ready. Make him like you. Let him get to know you. He's going to start offering you different deals. Ignore those deals though, because they're expensive. And just keep on getting the cheap stuff. Then he'll start wanting to sell you paraphernalia, which I recommend buying. Lets you fit in with the cult better. And make sure to buy the sword off him. That's actually a very important thing, is this sword. Once all desired objects are bought and you're good friends with the yellow fellow, it's time to do a rite. Go to that yellow pentagram thing you made and place clay on top, terracotta like so, gold nugget over here, the 2 iridescent pearls there, the yellow dye. Put your Book of the Dead on top of the altar and right click the center of the pentagram. This will continually deal damage to you while it crafts your new object, but this will give you a statue of Hastur. Now give the statue of Hastur to the cult leader and he will induct you into the cult and be very happy with you. He'll now give you his blessings, and he'll get other benefits from being around him. Give him your Necronomicon, and he will also give you the secrets of the Yellow King, which you can see here. And there you have it. Your book is now mostly unlocked. Now that you are part of the cult, it's time to get even more cultists involved. Gather yourself together, a group of willing participants, and do the ritual of hysteria to drive them insane. This makes them more pliable for what comes next. Bottler on top, redstone to the left side, glowstone to the right, and red mushroom on the bottom. Then hit the center of the ritual to activate it, and it'll make everyone in the surrounding area go loopy. Then, the next ritual you want to do is the ritual of the Yellow Path. This one is insanely simple to do. A golden ingot on top, right click it, while having your Necronomicon on altar, right click it, and it'll play this fancy little music. The nearby cultists will do a little dance, he'll bob up and down, and get inducted into the cult. Do this until all villagers have been summoned into the center of the circle and peacefully and willingly joined to your processing as new serfs to the Yellow King. Now, investigators may come along at this point to try to stop you from doing this. Slay them before they can interfere with your proper ritual magic. There may be quite a few of them showing up, so it's best to get them dealt with. Now that you have your cult following, re-collect your book, and find the ritual of golden coronation, which will require a gate key. Now these things can be found in chests around the world, or they can be traded for with traders, but one of the best places to find them is in sunken ships, I have found. Now this ritual is rather expensive, so you'll want to gather together all the required ingredients for it and have them at hand. One of them is ancient debris. The inscription of the gate key goes on top. The yellow helmet or crown goes next to it. The ancient debris after that. The stone statue of Hastur will need to be placed down. The curious banner you traded for will go at the very point at the bottom. The diamond to the bottom right. A block of gold oceanic gold to the true right. And the ornate dagger at the very top. Now that you have this ready, and you have at least 3 followers, put your Necronomicon onto the altar, and right click it, and this will start the ritual, and they'll be waving about. But this ritual needs more than just waving about. It also needs a sacrifice. Sheep are recommended for the sacrifice, as the Yellow Serfs will attack you if you sacrifice a villager for it. So, murderize a sheep while it's nearby, and then, well, this will happen. Slowly but surely, this thing will form together, and will spawn yourself a yellow prince. This big daddy-o right here, who's now your supernatural sugar daddy. And the tired prince is a servant to Hastur. Some believe that he is Hastur himself, although he's nowhere near strong enough. And to your new friend and master, kind of just hang out with him and go, hey, hey buddy, hey, hey. If you're lucky, he will draw you in close and make this yellow symbol appear on your screen and give you a blessing of his power. He's given me a charming personality. There's several different blessings the great intermediaries of the greater old ones can give you, and the Prior Prince just gave me the blessing of charming personality, which makes it so villagers will always like me, and they'll always be happy to have social interactions with me. You can also get your magic boosted, or get the Royal Entourage. Both of them have their own effects. Royal Entourage let you cast spells to affect groups and have people follow you about. And the Magic Blessing will, well, give you more magical power. And now that we've gone through the path of how to actually unlock everything and get things done so far in the mod, let's discuss a little bit more about how to get the spells and the rituals. There are a lot of different rituals that this mod adds, and a lot of spells. Spells and rituals can be learned through various different means. The rituals, or rites, just show up in your book over time by you unlocking things. The spells, on the other hand, need to be unlocked by you communicating with witches, eating random things, and doing these little ritual things on yourself or rites to get them actually unlocked. I've unlocked quite a few spells already, but I haven't unlocked them all. Here is the spell of knockback, which I have not unlocked yet. To unlock it is pretty straightforward. What you do is you put down the circle, you look in the book, it tells you where things need to go where. Then you put the things into the circle and you put your book into an altar. For the ritual knockback, put down a feather, a piece of raw chicken, a potion of swiftness 2, Oceanic gold ingot, an arrow, and a piece of beef, and start the ritual. It'll suck you into the center, start spinning about, and it will learn ya the spell. And other spells are learned most like this, besides things that involve consuming things or talking to witches, all that stuff. But basically, if a spell's got a recipe like this when it says how to learn it, then you have to do that to learn it. Then you can learn the spell and apply the things to it. Can create that spell, such as this bolt of knockback. Should just send things flying. Okay, iron golems are pretty resistant, but he isn't. Anyhows, these are spells, though, that you cast using the Necronomicon, and there is more sorcery to this world than just what the Necronomicon offers and the smelling stuff. You also just have some really, really cool utility rituals. So rituals, or as the book calls them, rites, have various different effects. Broken Veil, well, does some cool stuff. It's a trap. It's a warp point, which allows creatures from otherworldly realms to come to this one. So, to do a ritual, you can right-click on it once all the ingredients are in place and in the right order. Or you can shift right-click on it to make it a stealth ritual. When you make it a stealth ritual, the whole area disappears, and it only leaves behind a faint glow, which itself will disappear. Then, when someone stupid walks over it, it'll trigger the effects of the ritual. Now, this ritual will slow and nauseate the target, and it'll summon those tentacles, which will one-shot ya if you're a wimp. These rituals, however, thankfully don't last forever, and will leave the circle once activated, making the area safe again to dwell in. After the ritual of the Broken Veil, we have ritual of the Burned Veil, which is very similar to the ritual of the Broken Veil. However, it happens to deal with fire instead of horrible eldritch beings from other dimensions. Iridescent Pearl on top, Ender Pearl on the side, Crimson Fungus on the bottom, and Blazing Power on top. When activated normally, it'll just glow red like this, and will create a lovely starlit portal of red light, and it will summon forth fiery beings from beyond, which are going to cause problems for the rest of my tutorial, so I have to quickly dispose of them. Now, these rituals can be killed by punching them, so if you see one popping up, the best reaction is to stomp it out before it can do any more damage to you. Of course, not all rituals are nasty and negative. Some of them have quite positive effects. Hysteria is one you've already seen, And while that's a sort of mixed effect, it drives everyone in the area insane. However, the Ritual of the Morning Dead is actually very, very nice. This one, with a tier on top, phantom membrane in the corner, a little bit of blaze powder, an awkward potion in the bottom, and charcoal to the side, makes the area, so to say, no longer have undead be a concern in it. Here we have a group of various different undead gathered, and when we activate the ritual, it'll send out its purification and eliminate all in the area. The very final ritual is my favorite one by far. I love this ritual so much. So, get yourself down one ritual circle of the yellow variety is required. Others don't need yellow variety that I've gone over, but this one does. Put down. Okay, that's pretty cool. Take an inactive key and stand over the circle. Either one will do, but just stand over one of them and zoom it in so it gets right clicked and has the location now stored and bounded. Put that on the top of your ritual star. Then take an Eye of Ender, put that to the left. Take an Ender Pearl, put that at the bottom. And take yourself the Oceanic Gold Crystal, put that to the right, and activate this sucker. Now this will open up this yellow gateway. In fact, this is called the Rite of the Open Way. And it creates a portal that is permanent between these two locations, and it is the best. Anything can use it for transportation. Even materials can be sent through to the other side, and I think that's just awesome. It's basically fold space and time so you can go between locations freely. It's so cool. I love it. I love it to bits. And that is about it for the mod. There's a few other small details that I'll leave for you to discover, but that's all the stuff with the golden serfs and how to progress and how to move on. However, there is whispers that Hastur's powers, the King in Yellows, will be increasing, and more is to come with him. And there's whispers of other things as well. Down in the deeps, there's a stirring.
Down, down in the deep, dark crevasses of the world.
Anyways, as more stuff comes out in this mod, I'll be certain to take a look at it, and I hope you found this guide useful. As always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.